Hello, I'm Frank Knapp, Director of Business for Democracy Campaign. Thank you for being here to discuss this very important issue. North Carolina Business for Democracy State Collaborative is composed of business organizations and individual businesses. Small business owners understand that a strong democracy is essential for a vibrant entrepreneurial economy where small business flourishes. The two go hand in hand. We are raising the alarm about losing our democracy. Some state legislatures want to allow state and national officials to ignore the will of the people and establishing a one-party rule and autocracy. A previous administration and current members of Congress have intentionally misused the law on presidential electors vote counting to attempt to deny the public's will. The Business for Democracy state collaboratives are using the trusted voice of small business to elevate the issue of democracy and the need to pass voting reforms in Congress to protect both our democracy and our economy. We are not endorsing candidates. We are advocating for congressional and statewide candidates to support the reforms needed and are educating the public on the issues and candidate positions. North Carolina is one of 8 states that have built Business for Democracy collaboratives. The others are Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, California, Arizona, Nevada, and Wisconsin. Business for Democracy is a campaign of the American Sustainable Business Network. Let me introduce Janice Robinson, president of JDR Consulting in Charlotte. Janice.
Thank you all for coming. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, women-owned firms contributed nearly $1.8 trillion in revenue, employed 10.1 million workers, and made up nearly 20% of all firms across the country in 2019. A J.P. Morgan Wealth Management report states the number of businesses owned by Black women grew 50% from 2014 to 2019, representing the highest growth rate of any female demographic. Black females accounted for 42% of all women who opened a new business during that time and represented 36% of all Black employers. A thriving democracy that protects the rights of women is vital to women not only being able to contribute as business owners, but also contribute to our overall economy. Women have a special reason to want to prevent our democracy from turning into an autocracy. Not only will the voices of women on issues not be heard by officials, but there will also be nothing holding back those politicians in power from acting on their own beliefs and prejudices. Misogyny will once again raise its ugly head to the detriment of all women. Sexism will be unleashed. It is vital that congressional and statewide candidates support reforms needed to protect business owners, such as the Electoral Count Reform Act of 2022, the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, and the Freedom to Vote Act. These reforms will help ensure women business owners and all business owners continue to thrive in our society.
Thank you, Janice. Next, I want to introduce John Martin. He's the CEO and Chief Strategy Officer for Martin Sloane International here in Charlotte.
Thank you, Frank, and good afternoon. Since COVID, I've heard from more than 1,000 small business entrepreneurs. I am actively involved in almost a half dozen national and international business advocacy committees. From those people that I've heard from and spoken to, the top 2 issues are equity and democracy. As we understand as business owners that democracy is the bedrock for economic growth and prosperity. Personally, I see daily the importance of being actively involved when it comes to the laws and regulations affecting entrepreneurs. A strong democracy provides us the freedom to elect officials who listen and act according to the voices of small businesses. It is imperative that every voter, not just entrepreneurs, speak out in support of a fair and equitable democracy. Unfortunately, there are efforts to undermine our democracy and not honor fair, free, and secure elections. If these efforts succeed, candidates will win not by listening to voter input, but by manipulating election rules. When that happens, all of our voices will be muted. North Carolina is becoming a mecca for economic development. Ranked number 1 in 2 current publications, we are asking our elected officials at the federal and state levels to legislate a fair, equitable formula for small businesses. Today begins early voting. Let's go out and vote for democracy. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I appreciate that. Jennifer Roberts, president of Jennifer Roberts Consulting and former mayor of Charlotte, was to be with us today, but she's under the weather and at home not feeling very well. The Business for Democracy Collaborative conducted a survey of all the North Carolina candidates for the U.S. House and Senate, Republicans and Democrats. We used this survey as a litmus test for determining if a candidate would support protecting democracy if elected to Congress. We asked if they would support 3 congressional reform bills that would provide the firm and stable support for America's democracy. These bills are the Electoral Count Reform Act, the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, and the Freedom to Vote Act. There is a description of these bills on the handout. All congressional candidates were contacted about our survey multiple times. Here are the North Carolina candidates for the House of Representatives that completed our short survey and indicated that they would support each of these bills if they are elected to Congress. Pam Genant, and I'll get that right, Pam Genant. There you go. Now I think I got it right. Sorry, Pam. Senator Wiley Nickel, Alma Adams, Barbara Gaskins, Jasmine Beach Ferrara, and Jeff Jackson. We invited each of these candidates to be with us today, not as an endorsement, but to show our appreciation for their supporting protecting democracy should they be elected. Unfortunately, all the candidates had scheduling conflicts. However, we are very appreciative of Pam Genant. Why do I have a hard time?
That's right,
Am I the only one that has a hard time with that,
you're
Pam? Okay, Pam Genant for joining us. Ms. Genant, please share your thoughts about why we need to protect democracy.
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you for having me here today. My name is Pam Genant, and I am running for Congress in District 10 here in North Carolina. And you know, there are a couple of values that I was raised with, that my parents taught me, that have carried me through my whole life. And that is to help your neighbor and to always work hard. And so that is what I try to do, and that is why I am running for Congress. Now, I live in Burke County in Valdez with my husband Jackson and our 2 grown boys, Dallin and Phillip. I am a nurse and I am a veteran. I served in the United States Army as an officer during Desert Storm. And I have been fortunate in running this race in all 9 counties to be able to travel all 9 counties and talk to thousands of voters. And everyone has topics or issues that are of concern for them. For some people, it's healthcare. For some, it's education. For a lot, it's the economy. But the one overriding issue that seems to be in the forefront of everybody's minds that I talk to is our democracy. They are afraid that we are losing our democracy and losing our voting rights. It's a concern for everybody. Now, Congressman McHenry, my opponent, he has voted against the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. We really need to strengthen voting rights, and we need to increase the security and the transparency of our whole election process. That is key here to maintaining our democracy, which is so very important. Now, I know that everybody watching this, I am sure, is going to get out and vote. But it's very important that we remember to take our friends, our family, our neighbors. We need to take everybody out and vote. So make sure you're doing that. Make sure you are contacting your friends, your family, your neighbors, and you're taking them to the polls as well to get them to vote. That's how we preserve our democracy. And I just want to say that if you want more information about my campaign or how you can get involved, you can go to my website. It's pamgenant.com. That's G-E-N-A-N-T, pamgenant.com. And you can find more about my platform there. We have over 150 volunteers that are working hard on this campaign. They are knocking on doors. They are making phone calls. They are sending text messages. They are stuffing envelopes. And they need your support as well. So pamgenant.com, that's where you can go. And thank you all for having me. I do appreciate it.
Pam, if nothing else, I may mispronouncing your name over and over and over again. Nobody's going to forget Pam Genant. Thank you, Pam. This November, voters will have a choice. They can choose candidates who support democracy or those who want to deny the will of the voters. They can choose our vibrant entrepreneurial economy or head down the road to a Russian-style economy that favors big corporations, not small businesses. Democracy and our economy are on the ballot. I want to thank each of you for being here today, and our presenters. Thank you very much also, and they are available for interviews at the completion. So thank you all very much. Get out and vote.
Yes.